They do not shake the earth or announce themselves with thunder. Instead, they wear down the soul little by little, almost unnoticed. I see you still smiling. I see you still moving forward. But your spiritual breath has grown faint, and you may not even realize how tired your soul has become. As you stand at the threshold of the new season I have prepared for you, I want you to stay awake. The most dangerous blows often come from the places you believe are safest. Long before David stood before Goliath, the real battle had already begun. It did not start on a battlefield. It began in the quietness of open fields, where a young shepherd watched over his flock. There were no roaring crowds, no shining armor, no praise from men, only the low growls of lions and bears stalking in the shadows. That was where David's faith was tested. That was where his courage was refined. Goliath was not his first enemy, nor was he the most frightening. The greater danger was complacency, the quiet temptation to believe his own strength would be enough. In the same way, what is tightening around your spirit today is not meant to terrify you. It is meant to awaken you. The most dangerous battle often begins long before you ever see a giant. From the outside, your life may seem fine, perhaps even peaceful. But I see the small cracks forming in your spirit. Anxiety with no clear source, weariness without a specific reason, a strange unsteadiness that visits you in the night. You may think it is only a passing feeling, but in truth, it is a warning. An unseen battle is quietly pressing in from within, in the places no one else can see. I do not tell you this to make you afraid. I tell you because when you draw near to the promise I have placed over your life, the enemy seeks to dim your light before it fully rises. Not every blow comes like a storm. Many enter through the smallest habits, a little distraction, a piece of content you watch just for fun, a few careless words that leave your mind drained. At first they seem harmless, but like drops of water falling on stone, over time they carve deep places in the soul. And if you are not watchful, you begin to pray less because you are busy. You seek me less because you are tired. Then, without noticing, your spiritual armor grows thinner while you still believe you are strong. My child, the greatest danger is not always a wide open door for the enemy. Sometimes it is a small crack you no longer care enough to notice. Then one day you still smile at people. You still fulfill your duties. You still serve as usual. But inside there is a strange emptiness. Not because you are weak, but because you have been quietly running dry without realizing what your soul has been missing. The sleepless nights, the hidden tears, the loneliness you feel even in a crowd, these are spiritual signals I want you to recognize. If you continue living on crumbs of faith, you may collapse right before I open the new season before you. I will not let you reach the edge without warning you. I call you back so you will lean on me before weariness convinces you to let go. My child, there are days when I see your soul trembling like a candle in the wind. Nothing around you may seem intense, yet you keep going, keep working, keep saying you are fine, but I know the hollow space forming between your ordinary breaths. The battle you think is outside is actually clinging deep within, in the places you pay the least attention to. The small signs, the unexplained fatigue, the uneasiness that comes and goes like a shadow, the loss of rhythm in your spirit, are the bells I am ringing to help you realize you are under spiritual attack. Watch and pray, so you will not fall into temptation. The spirit is willing, but the flesh is weak. I do not say this to make you anxious, but to remind you that I am right there, seeing everything. Do not dismiss what seems harmless inside your heart. Do you remember Elisha and his servant on that morning? The servant opened the door and saw the enemy surrounding the city. His heart trembled because his eyes could see only danger. But Elisha saw differently. He looked beyond what was visible and understood that the true battle was not merely the army outside, it was the panic squeezing the servant's faith. When Elisha prayed, I opened the servant's eyes. Suddenly, he saw countless heavenly warriors standing on the mountains, stronger than any earthly threat. Do you see? Danger has never been only external. The most frightening thing is not the enemy surrounding you. It is when your spirit sees only hostility and forgets that I am still covering you. The enemy always begins by convincing you that you are alone. From there, the battle tightens within you. Beloved, I see the moments when you ask yourself, why am I so tired when nothing big has happened? Yet it is often when everything appears calm that your spirit is most easily lulled to sleep. When you rely only on familiar routines, you forget that the soul must be kept awake every day. The enemy does not wait until you are visibly broken before striking. He plants small arrows, misdirected thoughts, nameless feelings, quiet discouragements you assume will pass. That is how the siege tightens. Not loudly, not violently, but slowly, until you barely notice your faith receding like water pulling away from the shore. I see you trying to look strong, but I also see the silent places within you, the places you have never dared to face. That is where the real battle is quietly taking place. My child, I do not wait until you collapse before I come to rescue you. I am already here, calling you back before a small weariness becomes a deep chasm. Do not believe you must be strong in order to please me. Bring me even your fragile pieces. Bring me the tangled thoughts you are afraid to admit. When you return to me, even the battle within you begins to shift, because I do not leave any soul to fight alone. Long before David stood before Goliath, he learned to take refuge in me during quiet afternoons no one else ever saw, and that hidden refuge became his true strength. Let me fight for you. The battle inside is not something you were meant to win by yourself. I only need you to return, and I will take care of the rest. And do you know this? Though I always protect you, there are still small openings in everyday life that can leave you more vulnerable than you realize. It is not that the enemy is strong enough to break through my wall of protection. It is the tiny cracks you unknowingly leave unguarded. When your mind is pulled in 100 meaningless directions, when you allow foreign sounds to enter the space that should belong to me, your spiritual armor begins to grow thinner day by day. I do not blame you. I only want you to understand that doors left slightly open can become entryways for the very things that drain you. When you understand this, you will see why I call you to remain watchful in every moment. Even the smallest step back toward me is enough to bring your soul into the safe light I have prepared for you. My child, there are things that seem harmless, yet they are quietly wearing down your spiritual strength without you noticing. I see your mind swept daily into countless sounds, images, and stories. Many of them may not be evil, but they are not nourishing your soul. When your mind is filled with voices that do not come from me, you slowly begin to struggle to recognize my gentle call. This is not a rebuke. It is a reminder, so you can understand why some evenings you feel tired without knowing why. Those little things can become the first openings that make you easier to wound than ever before. You do not have to fall completely in order to be wounded. Sometimes, a single speck of dust in the eye is enough to blur your vision. Remember young Samuel in the temple. That night, my voice called to him again and again. But Samuel thought it was Eli, because he had not yet learned to recognize my voice. The familiar sounds around him confused him, yet I did not fault him. I called patiently until he stopped, listened, and said, "Speak, for your servant is listening. Do you see? My voice never goes silent. But when your mind becomes too full, it becomes harder for you to discern what is my voice and what is merely distraction. The trivial things may not make a loud noise, yet they take up space that was meant for me. And when your ear becomes trained to the noise of the world, it becomes easier to miss the warnings I am trying to give you. I know there are moments when you allow yourself to drift into scattered thoughts, telling yourself, a little thinking won't hurt. But my child, the enemy does not need a wide open door. It only needs a small crack. Slowly, it will tilt your heart a few degrees off course. A little insecurity, a little comparison, a little resentment. Together they gather like tiny, persistent drops of water until they become a current that carries you away from the source of life. I do not want to see you lost in those undercurrents. You were created to walk in steadfastness, not in quiet exhaustion. I want you to understand this. What you feed your mind today will become either strength or burden tomorrow. And if you are not watchful, even the smallest things can become the cord that pulls you away from the peace I have prepared for you, beloved. Do not wait until your soul is weary before you return to me. Pause for a moment in the middle of the familiar noise. Open again the door of prayer you have not stepped through in a long time, and I will meet you there. I am not looking for long, elaborate prayers. I only desire your open heart, even if all you can give me is a single breath. When you lay down empty entertainment, unhelpful stories, and thoughts that weigh heavily on your mind, you will begin to see light return to the places you thought were ruined. I desire nothing more than to enter your mind before anything else does. so I can shield you from attacks your natural eyes cannot see. You belong to me, and I will not allow anything to steal your soul while you remain unaware. A time will come when you understand that spiritual neglect does not crash into your life all at once. It slips in quietly through choices you once thought were small. One day, you skip prayer. Another day, you hesitate to open the Bible. One evening, you let your worries drown out a conversation with me. None of it comes like a storm. It seeps in like a cold mist sinking into the ground. But when I look at you, I do not want you to accuse yourself. Noticing the danger is the first step toward becoming watchful again. All you need to do is gather your mind, gently close the doors you unknowingly opened, and let me guide you back to safety. You were not created to live in fragility. You were formed to stand firm in the light, no matter how chaotic the world around you becomes. And when you understand this, you will enter a deeper part of the battle, the place where you learn to guard your soul against the quiet things that drain you. My child, there are kinds of emptiness that make no noise, yet spread like a thin fog until your soul slowly grows cold, and you cannot even tell when it began. I see you still smiling at people, still working hard, still serving responsibly. Yet the light within you has dimmed, not because you no longer love me, but because you have been living on scattered fragments of faith. You read a few verses just to get through the day. You pray hurriedly before sleep, then tell yourself, that is enough. But beloved, a soul cannot thrive on crumbs. It needs breath from me. It needs fullness. It needs living water flowing continually. Without that, exhaustion will come quietly. The most dangerous thing is not always the storm. Sometimes it is the slow depletion that happens little by little. There are nights when you lie still in the dark, eyes open, unable to sleep, your heart heavy without knowing why. I see it all, the tears you try to swallow, the sighs you do not dare confess to anyone, the way your soul searches for somewhere to lean. But your soul does not yet realize that I am near, waiting only for you to turn back. Remember Elijah in the days after he fled and collapsed in weariness. He sat beneath the broom tree and wanted to let everything go. But I did not come to him in a great wind, an earthquake, or a blazing fire. I came in a gentle whisper, so he would know I had not abandoned him, even when his strength was gone. It is the same with you. I do not wait for you to become strong before I draw near. I come closest when you are weakest, to remind you that the weariness inside you is not the end. It is an invitation to return to true peace. I understand the moments when you blame yourself for no longer having the same passion you once had. You worship, but your emotions no longer overflow. You pray, yet your heart still feels dry. You think you have failed, but in truth, this is what happens when the soul stays away from the source of life for too long. A branch separated from the tree does not wither immediately. It may stay green for a few days before it begins to dry. In the same way, you can continue spiritual routines for a while. But when the flow from me no longer nourishes you, your soul will slowly become exhausted. I do not condemn you. I simply want you to realize that your life does not come from striving, but from connection. And the moment you return, that lifeline will surge again, restoring even the places you thought had already died. There are people who stand in the middle of a crowd and still feel completely alone. You have been there too, not because you are unloved, but because your spirit is running dry, and you do not know how to name it. The feeling that no one understands you, the thought that you are invisible in all of this, is not merely emotion. It is a sign that your soul needs to be touched. I want you to know this loneliness is not meant to torment you. It is meant to draw you closer to me. Only in my presence will you stop fearing the emptiness within. Remember David before he became a mighty king. He had nights filled with tears in caves, surrounded by isolation and pursuit. Yet in the place that seemed darkest, he wrote words full of hope because he knew I would not leave him in the night. So it is with you. The darkness will not break you if you allow me to remain with you in it. There will come a moment when you realize that this quiet exhaustion is the very thing that causes many people to let go right before I move most powerfully in their lives, not because they are weak, but because they do not recognize they are running on empty. I do not want you to step into a new season with a weak flame, tired feet, and a confused heart. I want you restored before you enter what I have prepared for you. And when you begin to feel the tenderness of your soul again, when you understand that emptiness is not punishment, but a gentle warning, you will find the next step unfolding naturally before you. That step is surrender. It is letting go of what has been wearing you down so you can lean on me and recover real strength. There you will see a door opening softly into wholeness, unhurried, peaceful, like the next chapter your soul has been waiting for all along. My child, many times you brace yourself just to appear as though you are fine. But I see the trembling hidden beneath your calm. You think trusting me means you must always be strong, always stand tall, and never let anyone see your weakness. But beloved, faith is not a mask to hide the cracks. Faith is the arm you lift when you no longer have the strength to stand on your own. I have never demanded that you become strong first and only then come to me. Even the greatest warriors in Scripture have fallen, and often it was precisely when they admitted their helplessness that I lifted them higher than ever before. I do not want you to keep straining. I want you to release, so I can hold you. Do you remember when Israel fought Amalek? Moses stood on the hill, and as long as his hands were raised, the people prevailed. But when his hands grew tired and lowered, they began to weaken. Yet do you see the truth hidden there? Victory did not come from Moses' strength alone. It came when he was willing to let others support his hands in weariness. I placed Aaron and Hur beside him, not because Moses was inferior, but because I wanted him to know this battle was never meant to be carried by one person alone. And so it is with you. I did not create you to fight by yourself. When you resist in your own strength, you will grow tired. But when you surrender to me, you will be upheld by a strength that never runs dry. I see the days when you read my word, but your mind is somewhere else. I see the moments when you pray, yet your words drift away while your heart sits heavy. You think you have failed, but my child, that is not failure. It is a reminder that prayer, worship, and the Word of God are not tasks. They are where your soul survives. They are the source of fresh breath. When small things drain your faith, you will feel dry. But when you turn back to what seems familiar, you will discover that these sacred places are more alive than you expected. They are not rituals, they are weapons. They are not habits, they are refuge. They are not merely a schedule. They are the way I cast my shadow over your soul and shield you from invisible blows. There are things you must decisively step away from, not because I want to take something from you, but because they are leaking your spiritual strength, conversations that leave your heart heavy, relationships not led by me, habits that erode your peace. These are like tiny holes at the bottom of a vessel, letting living water drain out continually while you wonder why you remain exhausted. I love you too much to watch you cling to what is making you weaker. If you lay it down, I will fill that empty space with something better, something healthier, something that belongs to me. I will never ask you to surrender without restoration. What I have for you is always greater than what I invite you to leave behind. Do you know what moves my heart most deeply? When you choose to surrender to me, even with a trembling breath. In that moment, I answer with an entire sky of protection. I have sent angels to guard you. I have raised a wall of fire around your life. I have shut doors the enemy tried to slip through. But there is one door I will never force open, the door of your heart. When you open that door and say, I am weak, Lord, fight for me, that is the moment my power is displayed most clearly. You do not need to shout. A quiet call is enough. I am already there. And when you let me fight for you, you will see that the battles that once terrified you are small in my hands. One day, when you stand steadier, gentler, and restored from within, you will realize that surrender did not make you weaker. It made you strong in a way the world cannot understand. You will begin to see more clearly the subtle movements of spiritual warfare, the gaps that need to be covered, the souls enduring what you once endured. And in this new watchfulness, you will naturally step into the role I prepared for you long ago, not only as one who is protected, but as one who brings support to the weary. No grand declarations are needed. No lengthy explanations are required. The quiet transformation within you will become an invitation for exhausted souls to return to the safety you found in me. My child, when your soul is restored and stands firm again, I see in you not only new life, but a light strong enough to guide those around you who are lost. You may think your former weakness was nothing more than a private wound, yet I use the very places where you once fell to strengthen those who are slipping. This battle has never been only about you. Every step you take, every word you speak, every breath upheld by me can become a covering for someone else. I healed you so you could become cool water in the desert, quiet, gentle, and strong enough to revive the thirsty. And when you see someone weary in the same way you once were, you will understand how I lifted you up, you will know how to lead them back to me gently, patiently, and with quiet certainty. Do you remember Joseph's story, my child? He was sold by his own brothers, falsely accused, thrown into prison, and surrounded by pain so heavy it seemed impossible to rise from it. Yet those very wounds became the foundation on which I placed him in a position to save an entire people. When his brothers came to him in the middle of famine, Joseph did not answer them with revenge. He looked at them and recognized that I had used his wounded years to preserve life for others. Do you see? Suffering did not crush him. It formed him into an instrument of deliverance. And so it will be with you. The places where you once wept, I will turn into places where you speak strength to thirsty souls, not with lofty philosophy, but with wounds I have healed. I want you to understand that your words carry more spiritual weight than you realize. When you complain, weariness spreads like gray smoke. But when you speak faith, even one simple sentence can shift the atmosphere around you. You may not have realized it before, but every word you speak plants a seed. It either lifts people up or makes their hearts heavier. Now that I have been reshaping you from within, I want you to become someone who sows hope into others, an intercessory prayer, a word of encouragement, a gentle hand placed on someone's shoulder. Sometimes these simple acts are enough to push back an entire stronghold of despair inside a person's soul. Your transformation is not only seen with the eyes, it is felt in the peace that flows from the words you speak. My beloved, I have placed weary souls around you, not so you must carry them in your own strength, but so you can become a trumpet that awakens and a bridge that leads them back to me, not in some grand or dramatic way, but through daily faithfulness. When you pray for your loved ones, your family, and those you cherish, you are not merely speaking to me. You are raising a spiritual wall around them. When you warn gently, when you share about me, when you stand beside someone in their weakness, you are activating a spiritual work far stronger than you imagine. You are sowing deliverance, and you yourself are being guarded through it. I do not want you only to survive. I want you to become a vessel that carries life. And as you keep walking, you will begin to realize that everything I have been doing in your life, the silent battles, the restoration, the steps that led you back, does not end with your safety alone. It leads you into a deeper position, the position of one who is called, one who carries light, one who knows how to stand in the fight not only for yourself, but for those I have entrusted to you. No loud trumpet is needed, no reputation is required. Only a heart that remains soft before me and open toward others. When you live this way, you become part of my stream of salvation, quiet, yet full of power. And each day you open your mouth to intercede, each time you stretch out your hands to lift another, I will stand behind you. I will complete what you cannot, so that everything blooms according to my will. My child, let me speak to you more deeply and more clearly, like a father taking hold of your shoulders and looking straight into your soul. You are not ordinary in this vast world. You are the portion of inheritance I have chosen. You are the place where I have set my name, the instrument I guard with holy jealousy. There is no movement in your life that escapes my gaze. You are where I dwell, a living temple into which I have breathed my spirit. So each time pressure surrounds you, each time a harsh word is aimed at you, each time a tangled crossroads confuses you, understand this: none of it is accidental. These are arrows the enemy shoots deliberately to unsettle you, to make your soul chase what is visible, instead of lifting your eyes to where I am waiting. He does not want you to look up because he knows that the moment you look to me, the moment you call my name, everything he has built begins to collapse like ash beneath your feet. But today, I am drawing your eyes away from the storms in front of you. I am lifting your gaze higher, deeper, and truer to the place where your help has never arrived late. I am the one who stood in the furnace with the 3 young men. I am the one who shut the mouths of the lions before Daniel. I am the one who made the walls of Jericho tremble beneath the footsteps of faith. I am the one who broke Paul's chains in the darkness of prison. I am the one before whom every battle surrenders before it even has the chance to take shape. Yet for you to step into the flow of that strength, you must return to me. Rearrange your heart, realign your spirit. Do not let it drift from the truth I have already placed within you. You have walked through many seasons and lived through many experiences. I know there were moments when you opened your heart to things that were not from me. You looked at what did not strengthen your soul. You listened to voices mixed with the noise of the world and mistook them for wisdom. You held on to small but persistent thoughts, quiet yet toxic emotions, and doubts that seemed harmless at first. But slowly, Layer by layer, they began to eat away at your spiritual armor. You thought you were only watching a little, listening for fun, thinking about it just for a moment. But the enemy knows how to sow. He does not need a storm. He only needs a seed, a little doubt to make you hesitate, a little bitterness to pull you away from peace, a little distraction to make you neglect prayer, a small sin you believe you can control. Then, little by little, those things weave into a cord around your soul, drawing you away from the source of life before you even realize how far you have wandered. He rarely charges in with a loud roar. He prefers to whisper. He does not always break down the door. He simply lifts the latch when no one is watching. He does not knock you down all at once. He slows you step by step, throwing your breath off rhythm little by little, until one day you realize you are standing farther from me than you ever thought possible. And when you are far from me, you become vulnerable to things that should never have had the power to shake you. I show you this not to accuse you, but to stir you awake. I am awakening spiritual eyes that have grown dim beneath the dust of weary days. I am touching your ears so my calling becomes clear again, so you can discern what is my voice and what is not from me. I want your heart to be soft and alert, not because you should live in fear, but because you must recognize your worth in the protection I placed around you before anything ever began. You are the temple of my spirit, a holy place that must never become a playground for distorted voices. I have placed you in the battle not to collapse, but to stand firm like a lamp that refuses to go out in the deepest night. I am jealous for you not with selfishness, but with holy love, because I know that nothing besides me can keep your soul whole. When you allow worthless things to slip into your mind, you open the door with your own hands for the enemy to sneak in. And I will not stand by silently while he steals the strength, purity, and peace I have placed within you. So I speak to you now with the voice of a loving but resolute father. It is time to be decisive. You must loosen the invisible bindings. You must tear down destructive thoughts. You must sweep out the noise that has crept into your mind. You must turn off what has been pulling you away from me, little by little. But do not be afraid. When I call you to remove something, I have already prepared something better. When I ask you to let go of a toxic voice, I open before you my life-giving word. When I tell you to lay aside a habit that has worn your soul thin, I pour into you a peace the world cannot give and cannot take away. You do not have to do this in your own strength. I never command you and then step back to watch you struggle. I walk with you. I restore every room in your mind. I bring light into every dark corner of your soul. I drive back the words that wounded your heart. I wash away what has clung to you for so long, leaving you tired without even knowing why. All you need to do is open your heart and allow me to work. The rest, I will handle with a gentleness only I possess. And when you begin to cleanse your heart, when you close your eyes to the noise of the world and open your spiritual eyes to look toward me, you will begin to see what once felt so far away, peace. Not peace because everything is easy, peace in the middle of upheaval. Not peace because there is no enemy. Peace because I show you that he cannot touch you when you are resting in me. When your heart returns to its rightful place, where I am the center, everything around you will begin to return to its proper order. What once sent you into panic will become small. What once made you uneasy will lose its power. What once tried to crush you will become a stepping stone that lifts you higher. Let me rekindle your spiritual sight, so you no longer look at the world through fear, but through the awareness that I go before you in every battle. Let your ears no longer listen through anxiety, but through clear discernment, able to recognize my voice and reject deception. Let your mind no longer be swallowed by useless whirlpools of thought, but guided by wisdom from heaven. And as you walk this path, you will not only be protected, you will become an instrument of protection for many others. The light within you will illuminate their way. Your words will sow hope. The wounds you once carried, now healed by my hand, will become proof that I truly am with you. Child of mine, rise from the dark corners where you have been sitting for too long. Do not let whispers of doubt drag you back to the place I already rescued you from. Do not allow the harsh words of people to define your value. Do not let roots of bitterness sink deep, for they will bind your soul. Let me cut them away with my gentle hands. You are mine, and I will not allow any darkness to claim ownership over you. Step into the light I have laid before you. Stand in the truth I speak over you. Let me restore what is cracked, gather what is scattered, and breathe life into the parts of you that you thought had died. Today is the day I shake your soul awake so you will realize you were never meant to fight alone. Today is the day I call you back to watchfulness, so you no longer fall into the trap of things that seem small yet are strong enough to drain you. Today is the day I lift your eyes higher, so you can see that I am still governing all things, even when your life looks like chaos. Today is the day I remind you that my jealousy over you is not a burden, but a shield of protection. Today is the day I declare again, you belong to me, and no enemy can change that. Do you remember Joseph's story? He was a young man sold by his brothers, falsely accused and thrown into prison. His life seemed to be nothing but a series of blows too painful to recover from. Yet those very wounds became the foundation on which I placed him in a position to rescue an entire nation. When his brothers came to him in the middle of famine, Joseph did not pour out vengeance. He looked at them and understood that I had used his wounded years to preserve life for others. Do you see? Suffering did not crush him. It made him a vessel of deliverance. And so it will be with you. The places where you once wept, I will turn into places where you speak words that uphold weary souls. Not with lofty philosophy, but with wounds I have healed. I want you to know that your words carry spiritual weight you have never fully understood. When you complain, weariness spreads like gray smoke. But when you speak faith, even one small sentence can shift the atmosphere around you. You may not realize it, but every word you speak sows a seed. It either lifts people up or weighs their hearts down. Now that I have been reshaping you from within, I want you to become someone who sows hope into others. A prayer of intercession, a word of encouragement, a gentle hand placed on someone's shoulder. Sometimes that is what pushes back an entire stronghold of despair inside a person's soul. Your transformation will not only be seen with the eyes, it will be felt in the peace that flows from the very words you speak. My beloved, I have placed weary souls around you, not so you can carry their burdens in your own strength, but so you can become a trumpet that awakens and a bridge that leads them back to me. Not through grand gestures, but through daily faithfulness. When you pray for your loved ones, your family, and those you cherish, you are not merely speaking with me, you are raising a spiritual wall around them. When you warn gently, when you share about me, when you stand beside someone who is weak, you are activating a spiritual work far stronger than you think. You are sowing deliverance, and through it, you yourself are being protected. I do not want you only to survive. I want you to become an instrument that carries life. And as you continue walking, you will begin to understand that everything I have done in your life, the silent battles, the restoration, the steps that led you back to me, does not end with your safety alone. It leads you into a deeper place. The place of one who is called, one who carries light, one who knows how to stand in the battle not only for yourself, but for those I have entrusted to you. No loud trumpet is needed, no fame is required, only a heart that remains soft before me and open toward others. When you live this way, you become part of my current of salvation, quiet, yet full of power. Each day you open your mouth to intercede, each time you stretch out your hands to uphold someone else, I will stand behind you. I will complete what you cannot complete, so that everything blossoms according to my will. My child, let me speak to you more deeply and more clearly, like a father taking hold of your shoulders and looking straight into your soul. You are not insignificant in this vast world. You are the inheritance I have chosen. You are the one upon whom I have set my name, the vessel I guard with holy jealousy. There is no movement in your life that escapes my gaze, because you are where I dwell, a living temple into which I have breathed my spirit. So when pressure closes in, when harsh words are aimed at you, when tangled crossroads leave you confused, understand this: none of it is accidental. These are arrows the enemy shoots deliberately to throw you off balance, to make your soul spin around what is visible instead of lifting its eyes to where I am waiting. He does not want you to look up, because he knows that the moment you look to me, the moment you cry out to me, everything he has built will collapse like ash beneath your feet. But today, I am drawing your gaze away from the storms before you. I am setting your eyes higher, deeper, and truer toward the place where your help has never once arrived late. I am the one who stood in the furnace with the 3 young men. I am the one who shut the mouths of the lions before Daniel. I am the one who made the walls of Jericho tremble beneath the footsteps of faith. I am the one who broke Paul's chains in the darkness of a prison night. I am the one before whom every battle surrenders before it can even fully form. Yet for you to step into that flow of strength, you must return to me. Reorder your heart, realign your spirit, so it does not drift from the truth I have placed within you. You have passed through many seasons and many experiences. I know there were times when you opened your heart to too many things that did not belong to me. You looked at what did not strengthen your soul. You listened to voices mixed with the noise of the world and mistook them for wisdom. You held on to small but stubborn thoughts, quiet yet toxic emotions, and doubts that seemed harmless at first. But slowly, they ate away at each layer of your spiritual armor. You thought you were only watching a little, listening for fun, thinking about it for just a moment. But the enemy understands how to sow. He does not need a storm, he only needs a seed. A little doubt to make you hesitate. A little bitterness to draw you out of peace. A little distraction to loosen your prayer. A small sin you believe you can control. Then, little by little, those things weave into a cord around your soul, pulling you away from the source of life before you even realize how far you have drifted. He rarely charges in with a loud roar. He prefers to whisper. He does not always break down the door. He simply lifts the latch. He does not strike you down all at once. He slows you step by step, disrupts your rhythm breath by breath, until one day you realize you have been standing farther from me than you ever thought. And when you are far from me, you become vulnerable to things that should never have had the power to shake you. I say this not to condemn you, but to stir you awake. I am awakening the spiritual eyes that have grown dim beneath the dust of weary days. I am touching your ears so my calling becomes clear again, so you can recognize which voice is mine and which one does not belong to me. I want your heart to be tender and alert, not so you live in fear, but so you recognize your worth and understand the protection I built around you before anything began. You are the temple of my spirit, a sacred place that must never become a playground for deceptive voices. I have placed you in the battle not to collapse, but to stand like a lamp that refuses to go out in the deepest night. I am jealous for you not out of selfishness, but because I know nothing besides me can keep your soul whole. When you allow worthless things to slip into your mind, you open the door with your own hands for the enemy to creep in. And I will not stand by while he steals the strength, purity, and peace I have placed within you. Therefore, I speak to you with the voice of a loving yet resolute father. It is time for you to be decisive. Tear off the invisible bindings. Smash the destructive thoughts. Sweep out the noise that has slipped into your mind. Turn off the things that are pulling you away from me little by little. But do not be afraid. When I call you to remove something, I have already prepared something better for you. When I ask you to release a toxic voice, I open to you, my words full of life. When I tell you to lay down a habit that drains your soul, I pour into you a peace the world cannot give and cannot take away. You were never meant to carry this in your own strength. I do not give a command and then step back to watch you struggle. I walk with you. I restore every room in your mind. I bring light into every dark corner of your soul. I silence the words that wounded your heart. I wash away what has clung to you for so long, the things that have made you tired, without even knowing why. All you need to do is open your heart to me. I will take care of the rest with a tenderness only I can give. And when you begin to cleanse your heart, when you close your eyes to the noise of life and open your spiritual eyes to look at me, you will begin to see what once felt impossible to reach. Peace. Not peace because everything is easy, but peace in the middle of the storm. Not peace because there is no enemy, but peace because I show you that he cannot touch you when you hide yourself in me. When your heart returns to its rightful place, with me at the center, everything around you will begin to return to its proper order. What once terrified you will become small. What once unsettled you will lose its power. What once tried to knock you down will become the very stepping stone that lifts you higher. Let me relight your spiritual eyes, so you no longer see the world through fear, but through the certainty that I go before you in every battle. Let your ears no longer listen through anxiety, but through clear discernment, able to recognize the difference between my voice and deception. Let your mind no longer drown in useless spirals, but be guided by the wisdom that comes from heaven. And as you walk this path, you will not only be protected, you will become an instrument of protection for many others. The light within you will brighten their way. Your words will sow hope. The wounds you once carried, now healed by my hand, will become living evidence that I truly am with you. My child, rise from the dark corners where you have sat for too long. Do not let whispers of doubt pull you back to the place I rescued you from. Do not allow the harsh words of people to define your worth. Do not let bitter roots grow deep, for they will bind your soul. Let me cut them away with my gentle hands. You are mine, and I will not allow any darkness to claim ownership over you. Step into the light I have spread before you. Stand in the truth I speak over you. Let me restore what is cracked, gather what is scattered, and breathe life into the parts of you that you thought had died. Today is the day I stir your soul, so you will recognize that you were never meant to fight alone. Today is the day I call you back to wakefulness, so you no longer fall into small traps that seem harmless but leave you exhausted. Today is the day I lift your eyes higher, so you can see that I am still governing all things, even when your life appears chaotic. Today is the day I remind you that my jealousy for you is not a burden but a shield of protection. Today I say this over you. You belong to me, and no enemy can change that. When you open your mouth to speak about what I have done in your life, you are not merely sharing a story. You are opening a spiritual doorway. When you send a message, when you let a verse of scripture touch someone in despair, when you remind someone that hope is still alive, heaven does not remain still. You sow the word and I move. You only need to sound a brief trumpet of awakening, and I will release power from on high to shield the one you are lifting up. You may not see it with natural eyes, but every time you knock on someone's door through prayer, I assign angels to stand watch at the door of your own home. When you whisper, Amen, heaven's response is never a whisper. It comes like fire, dissolving unseen attacks. It comes like new breath, reviving the places that seem dead inside the one you are interceding for. You may not realize it, but the spiritual realm trembles when you step into the position I have entrusted to you. You must understand that your life carries value far beyond what you imagine. Every moment you walk with me is never wasted. No time is stolen when you place it in my hands. No future is shattered when I am its keeper. No dream is buried when I am the one who breathes life into what appears to have decayed. I know there were times you feared your youth was passing in vain. You wondered whether the years you served had gone unnoticed, whether the tears you shed at night had been misunderstood, whether your efforts would disappear into the current of life. But I see it all. I record it all. I protect every piece of your life you thought had been taken from you. No one can touch what I have appointed for you. And if the enemy has ever tried, it will learn that its attacks only cause me to rise even more powerfully in your defense. Even your health is covered by me, the fatigue, the unexplained aches, the anxieties that weigh heavily on your heart. They will not destroy you when you place them in my hands. I do not want you living in fear, wondering whether your body will be strong enough to enter the new season. I upheld you when you were weak, and I will replenish you when you are weary. I will restore the places you thought had lost their strength. I do not merely heal wounds. I renew the very source of strength within you. Remember this. What belongs to me, the enemy cannot destroy, and you belong to me. Do you know what that means? In all things, the enemy never has the final word. Even if it tries to sow doubt, even if it wears you down, even if it breathes lies into your heart, it cannot end the story I am writing over your life. The final word always belongs to me, the one who called you before you entered your mother's womb, the one who guarded you when you thought you were alone, the one who made a way even when there seemed to be no path ahead. My word to you today is not temporary comfort. It is a spiritual decree with the power to reshape the future of your life. Rise and shine, for my light has touched you, and my glory is breaking over your life like dawn shattering the morning mist. You are not only saved, you are sent. You are not only supported, you are empowered. You are not only protected, you are called to lead others into the light. And when you walk with that awareness, when you understand that the life I give you is not merely meant to help you survive, but to overflow through you, you will begin to see that every step you take carries purpose. You will see light pouring through your words, through simple acts of kindness, through quiet intercession. You will see change in your family, in those you love, and even in those who once seemed beyond return. You will become a stream that never stops flowing, bringing healing to cracked and barren ground. You will become a bell in the night, awakening souls that have fallen asleep. You will become a lamp set on a hill, not to perform, but to guide. And I, as your Father, will stand with you in every step, every word, and every breath. Take heart, for this battle does not end in darkness. It ends in glory, and you are part of that glorious plan. You only need to keep standing, keep believing, and keep shining. I will do the rest. My child, let me speak to you with all the longing in my heart. The road you have just walked through unseen battles, through spiritually worn-down days, through the moment you began to recognize my hand lifting you up does not end here. A new journey is opening before you. A depth you have never entered is waiting for you. Now I want you to know this. My call is not only meant to comfort you, it is meant to awaken you, empower you, and ignite within you a mission I placed there before you ever existed. Now that your soul has learned the difference between darkness and light, now that you have tasted both dryness and restoration, you have become fertile ground for me to plant a spiritual calling greater than your own life. Not because you are better than others, not because you are stronger, but because you have allowed me to touch the deepest places and the most painful wounds. That tenderness has made you someone who can uphold others with living truth, the kind of truth many still fear to face. Do you know what I treasure most in you? It is your willingness, even if it feels small, to let me use your wounds as a lamp to light the way for souls stumbling in the dark, souls walking through what you have just escaped. I want you to understand that none of the pain you have endured will vanish in vain. I keep it like stones that will one day become a bridge for others to cross. There are people around you who are exhausted, barely breathing, and losing strength in battles no one sees. They carry forced smiles, just as you once did. They hide confusion behind busy work. They live in a state of just a little longer, even though their spirits have wanted to collapse for a long time. The day will come when I bring them near you, because you have walked through what they are walking through, and only one who has reached the bottom knows how to take another's hand without hurting them further. I will use the healing in you like oil poured over their wounds before new skin has even formed. I will use the new strength I have placed within you to shatter the lies that are drowning them. You will not teach them with theory. You will lift them with living proof, with breath, with story, and with the gentleness I taught you when you were at your weakest. Beloved, I have placed upon your mouth the power of declaration. Not power for display, but power to break the whispers of despair that surround others. A word you speak while standing in me can drive back an entire dark cloud pressing down on a soul. A prayer of intercession from you, even as small as a candle flame, is enough to make darkness hesitate. You cannot see it with your natural eyes, but I see every spiritual movement that happens each time you speak. When you release encouragement, heaven takes notice. When you pray for someone, my angels are dispatched according to that word. You are the outstretched arm of a kingdom that cannot be measured by feelings. I am entrusting you with what only those who have been broken and then renewed by me can carry with enough humility and mercy to deliver it rightly. You will become a trumpet of awakening, not through shouting, but through peace. You will become a bridge of rescue, not by your own strength, but by my presence flowing through you like water, gentle, yet mighty. Your loved ones, your family, and those you cherish are also standing in a battlefield they do not know how to name. Every prayer you pray for them is not lost. It stands like an invisible barrier between them and the spiritual arrows seeking to pierce through. You do not have to say much to them. You do not have to convince anyone to understand you. Simply stand firm, stand in the place where I have set you, and I will let the light within you do what words cannot. There are battles where it only takes one person in a family surrendering to me for me to open a way for the entire household. There are words I am preparing to speak to them, but I will speak through you, through your gentle voice, through your small actions, through your kindness when they are fragile. You are not only saved, you are being entrusted. I want you to recognize that where you go will no longer be random. I will lead you into conversations you think are merely coincidental, but they will actually be assignments. I will allow you to hear the sighs no one else hears, so you can sense the spiritual pain behind them and know how to intercede. I will give you light to discern the hidden attacks striking others, and I will use you as a shield, so others do not fall before they learn how to return. You will begin to notice what others overlook: a tired glance, a careless remark, a small change in behavior that is really a cry for help. You will see because I have opened your spiritual eyes. You will feel because I have touched your heart, and when you speak, you will not speak from your own wisdom, but from my whisper flowing through your soul. Then, almost without realizing it, you will find yourself growing into this calling, like a seed sprouting beneath the soil, quiet, hidden, unseen, yet one day rising with strength. Your words will change, your actions will deepen, your patience will widen, your mercy will grow stronger. Not because you forced yourself to become better, but because I am doing the inner work within you. Little by little, in ways you may not yet perceive, you will become a refuge for souls knocked down by the winds of life. You will become a voice that turns them back toward the light. You will become a gentle reminder that they still have worth, they are still loved, and there is still a way out. I will use you as part of a rescue plan heaven prepared long ago. And you will no longer live only for yourself. You will live with purpose, with weight, with a spiritual imprint no one can erase. Beloved child, if deep within you, you sense that these words are going straight from me to your heart, then respond with a small but deeply spiritual act. Press like on this video as a sign that you are opening your heart and saying to me, I receive this. Lord, I hear you, and I agree with what you are doing in my life. Leave your name in the comments. Not so I may count people, but so I may see each name fully. I am looking at every face. I am laying my hand upon every heart. I am setting apart those I have chosen to enter a new season. A season of rescue, healing, and the unveiling of power that will no longer remain hidden. And my child, subscribe to this channel as an act of sealing, as if you were signing a covenant with me and saying, I want to walk with you. I want to hear your voice every day. I do not want to lose the wakefulness you have just rekindled in me. I want to were in the Loden. This is not entertainment. This is a spiritual doorway, a place I use to speak, correct, uphold, and guide those who truly seek me. Now be still for a moment. Do not rush into anything else. Place your hand over your heart and feel the gentlest stirring, like a breeze passing through, like my breath touching the hidden corners you have kept tucked away for so long. This is not imagination. It is me confirming to your soul that something has been activated. Heaven's covering is resting upon you. The unseen battles that have disturbed you are being cut off. Your spirit has just awakened one layer deeper. And from this moment on, your life will not return to what it was before. Not because everything around you changes instantly, but because you have changed. And when your heart changes, the journey ahead is rewritten by me with light, with safety, and with strength you never knew you carried. You have been awakened. You have been set apart, and I will lead you. Keep walking. I am here. You are not alone. My child, I see you walking through long, crowded days while your soul slowly shrinks back in silence. Not because it is at peace, but because it is weary. I see clearly that the song of praise that once burned brightly within you now feels like a distant echo. Not because you no longer love me, but because the flame in your heart is flickering in the chaotic winds of life. I see you begin each new day with hurried feet, your mind filled with work and responsibilities, until the simple gratitude that once warmed you has been pushed to the bottom of a list labeled later. You are present in so many conversations, so many meetings, so many plans. Yet slowly, you are becoming absent from the deepest place within you, the place where I have always waited for you to return. And that absence is what concerns me most. When your soul drifts far from the source of life, it does not wither all at once. It weakens quietly, like a stream slowed by small stones until its flow becomes too thin to carry you through the unseen spiritual storms rising around you. Beloved, I know you did not mean to move away from me. This distance was not created in a day, a week, or even a month. It was formed in small moments when you were tired and did not pray, when you were busy and did not worship, when you were rushed and did not speak with me. You told yourself, tomorrow I'll pray more deeply, or I'm too busy today. I'll read your word later. And all those later moments began to pile up, becoming a quiet distance wide enough for your soul to cool down without you noticing. You thought you were fine because work still moved forward, responsibilities were still carried, your actions still appeared steady. But I know that fine has only been a covering over a heart that is exhausted. The danger is not that you are weak, because I can lift you up. The danger is that you do not realize you are weak, and you keep walking unaware into a battlefield without carrying your weapons. Spiritual warfare